Steve Chesley. He's our POC. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary of being open this year. And he set up this 25th anniversary dinner downtown, so I'll let him tell you about it.
Well, I've already told some of you about it. So we took this property over in September of 2000. For those of you that don't know the history, the last owner of this property, Charles Hardy Grimm, died in 1989. He left the property in trust to his wife. She wanted to sell it to developers. Developers were lined up to get this property. This was supposed to be all homes. If you look all around here, it's just a residential community. When you get up on Pritchard's Hill today, if you look that way, you'll see some brand new condos that weren't here a year and a half ago. So they were going to tear down the Pritchard house. This was all going to be developed. In 1996, some city leaders and county leaders and concerned citizens formed the Kernstown Battlefield Association to try to prevent that from happening. I think the story goes they had to take her to court one time. But anyways, we got the property in September of 2000 for a cost of $4.3 million, and they were able to pay it off in 3 years thanks to grants and excessive donations. So we are celebrating this historic 25th anniversary of preserving this battle. 2 major battles were fought here. The Second Battle of Winchester was started here. You know, the First Battle of Kernstown, Second Battle of Kernstown, in the scheme of things, when you compare it to Gettysburg and Antietam and Chancellorsville, were small. They were small engagements, not a lot of casualties, but they were highly significant because the first Kernstown, Stonewall Jackson's orders were to keep the Union troops in the valley. He did that. Even though he lost the field and his only loss as an independent commander, he did lose the field, but they can always consider a strategic victory because they overestimated his numbers by about 3 times, scared Lincoln enough. Lincoln was afraid Jackson was going to swing around and attack D.C. He took 40,000 troops that were in Fredericksburg under Irvin McDowell, took a lot of them to the valley, and used the rest to protect Washington, D.C. So those were 40,000 troops that were supposed to go to George McClellan for his Peninsula campaign that he didn't get. Now, if you know the history of George McClellan, you could have given him 100,000 troops, it wouldn't have been enough. But these were 40,000 troops that were supposed to go to him. Would the Peninsula campaign have been different? Who knows? Second Battle of Kernstown. Last Confederate victory in the Shenandoah Valley. You'll hear all about this from Scott today. But because of this battle, and a couple days later, the burning of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, Ulysses S. Grant and Lincoln had decided we've had enough of the Shenandoah Valley. And they put Phil Sheridan in charge, gave him 24,000 infantry and 6,000 cavalry, told him to get early out of the valley and then destroy the valley. And you probably are all familiar with the burning at the end of September, early October. If you mention Phil Sheridan's name in Winchester today, it's still like uttering a curse word. So these battles are small, but they were highly significant in the turn of events for the Civil War. And Scott will probably go into all that. But if you get a chance, help us celebrate this milestone of saving this property. At the George Washington Hotel, we've got 2 great speakers. The thing that this flyer doesn't tell you is there is a $25 or $75 registration fee that includes a reception, a dinner, you're going to have a 50-50 raffle, and a silent auction. So if you get a chance, seating is limited. So go online to our kernstownbattlefield.org and scroll all the way down and click register, and you can register for this event. And we would love to see you there. So any questions on the battlefield, us saving it, or anything else? While we wait for Scott? Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, we'll get some. I'm your host for today, Larry Turner. I'm the vice president of the association this year. A couple of admin announcements. First of all, if everybody can have there's a map handout here that Scott's going to refer to throughout the tour. They're on the end of the table. Get one. There's a pile of these newspaper flyers about the 25th anniversary, and then the one-pager here about that. Bathrooms are in the back. Scott will probably tell you where he wants to go today on his driving stops. I know he's got a tight schedule for today, so I'm gonna let him tell you where he's gonna stop. We'll have 2 golf carts. He's mobility impaired, so I have to drive him around. That leaves 3 seats in one, and there, Steve's gonna drive another one that's got 3 more seats. So if you feel faint, or if you need mobility assistance, we have 2 carts. If you need to get back in here and cool off, we've got water in the refrigerator for emergencies if you feel overheated. So don't hesitate to tell me or Steve that you're feeling woozy or whatever. It's gonna be, there's not much of a breeze out there. Let's see, what else? Steve covered all the other things. Any questions at all? Yes.
Maybe I should ask Steve before he was here, but you can answer. When I was back here in March or April, we were clearing some woods back on some property. Is there an update on that? And is there any other property that is in the process of being preserved here at Kernstown?
There's a big property acquisition between us and 37 and then our property on Sandy Ridge. So I don't know, we gave a contribution to the ABT and the Shenandoah Valley Battlefields to buy about 160 acres between us and our Sandy Ridge property. So there's going to be a continuous unimpeded view from here to there. That was successful. Now up on Sandy Ridge, which is probably where you were helping us clear, we used timber works to go up there and clear land to try to put it back to the Civil War tree line as best we can. Left uncleared, that thing, the invasive species comes in and makes it almost untourable. So what we've got now, you've seen it's a big, I don't know, 8-9 acres on top of the big, long, cleared rectangle of grass, and then we've got 2 overlooks. One on the north end where Waters Battery sat. It's a big, wide, nice expanse. You can see Pritchard's Hill from there, and you can see how John Waters would have aimed his guns at Pritchard's Hill. We want to improve the driveway going up. So it's got a gravel driveway and some raggedy woods off to the right. We've got a fella that wants to donate several $1,000s towards land clearing, and if it comes through, there'll be another big land clearing this fall after the leaves come off, so we can see what we're doing, and in the winter before the leaves come back.
Yeah, I know the last time I was here to give a price tag on just to operate the machines and clear the trees.
Yeah, it's $2,500 a day to do that. And then if you know, halfway up our property, there's the old Apple Valley Road trace that goes over from that point on the south end, Lieutenant Colonel John Patton had his 21st Virginia shooting north against the Yankees counterattack. And then on the north side of that, the 1st Virginia Battalion was shooting south. And in between was Waters Battery. So we want to clear the whole area down to the 37 fence line where VDOT owns. And there's another 50 feet of trees to push off. Then we, on the south side of Apple Valley, clear back so you can actually see where a fence would have been and the sight lines. So you could stand in the center and you could see this entire field of view how the 84th Pennsylvania would have come across and melted between this crossfire and cannon fire. So that's the next project. And once that's cleared off, I think we're just in maintenance mode. Because that'll give us room for a parking lot. And if we get car tours over there, that's how we have to work out the logistics of how to tour that place. Because whether we want to make it guided or self-guided or what, we're not sure. Because the road going up to it, even though it's a farm market, it's kind of private for those folks. And if you spit rocks out in there, a lot of traffic, we'll have to work all that out. See what they want. Yeah, does that answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
So the first battle was when Lincoln had to split his troops.
I'm sorry, what?
After the first battle, that's when Lincoln decided to split his troops, correct?
At the First Battle of Kernstown? Mm-hmm. Right. Imagine it's like this. You've got Winchester, Leesburg, Washington, Occoquan, okay, and then Richmond, and the peninsula.
Right.
So you've got this big arc right here. The way the terrain of Virginia is, Winchester sits at the back door of Washington DC. The two gaps, the Snickers and Ashby's Gap and 236 and 50, the old turnpikes, all come out here. So the key to defending Washington's back door was Winchester. So you had to secure it. So Lincoln had to have somebody here. So he said, I'm bringing General Banks with his corps, but Lincoln, McClellan wanted Banks to go down to the peninsula. So McClellan was playing this cross your fingers shell game with Lincoln while he was discussing it. So Lincoln had to put, he had to keep troops here, but he didn't order them to be kept. He, as I read the book, James Shields, who was the 3rd Division under Banks, requested through, Colonel Kimball, through Shields' chief of staff, requested that the division stay, because he read the battlefield different than James Shields did, who said, there's nothing here, go home. And Banks said, there's nothing here, I'm going home. All right.